How's it going, my truant people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back on Pokemon Showdown for week... God knows what week even is it? Week 9 of the ABC, I believe, and at this point, I haven't even uploaded my week 2. I am so far behind the ABC, and I apologize. This week, we're going up against my man Sean, the Blind Messiah. Currently, somehow, against Sean, we are 4-0. I just don't know how that's happened. He is one of my best friends in this community. I said this in our Owl game, which you guys will have long since seen by the time this goes up. But it was actually only a week ago, so we played twice in... No, it was 2 weeks ago. So we played twice in the space of about a month anyway, so kind of close together. He's, yeah, one of my best friends in the community, someone that I've met in real life, someone that I have all the time in the world for, someone that is a formidable opponent, has been doing amazing in the ABC, and in these closing 3 weeks now, because I had a bit of a bad run in the ABC the past couple of weeks against like Socrates and Aquarius and Jack, I'm in a position where I need to start winning games. We have 3 games left where I play Sean, our opponent today, where I play Eevee Master, and where I play Blue Phoenix. So 3 like amazing friends of mine. Blue Phoenix, the first person that I knew through YouTube, the first person in the whole of the Pokemon community, draft, everything that I ever met in this community. My oldest friend, like just the OG Blue Phoenix. Eevee Master, and who we did the verses with as well. Let's not forget who we recorded our only collab Let's Play with back in the day when I could upload regularly before my internet went to crap. Eevee Master, my last season Christmas Kids teammate, our teammate, one of the mods in the ABC, someone who I just the other day had like a 3-hour conversation about My Hero Academia with, who I get on so well with. And then Sean, someone that I've met in real life, someone that I've played, this is the 5th time we've played, so we've played loads of times. And someone that I have a 100% record against somehow. In fact, all of these coaches I have a 100% record against. So it was really, really important to me in Draft League, not outside of that. They've all beaten me outside of that, I'm sure. But it was really, really important that I kept those records going and that I kept winning. And this is definitely one of the most formidable games because Sean is a direct rival for playoffs. And to get into playoffs, I could do with beating him and Eevee. And then if I can beat Manib as well, then that's brilliant. But really beating Sean and Eevee is the most important thing here, because they're 2 direct rivals for playoffs. If I beat both of them, I pretty much lock up playoffs for the Bowland Bovines. So it's really, really important. However, being 4-0 against Sean means that at some point I have to lose to this guy, and I had a funny feeling it might be this game. So we'll see how that goes. But his draft is terrifying. He has a Gliscor, he has a Alomomola, he has a Heatran, an Electabuzz, a Mega Tyranitar, and a Serperior. He also had things on the bench that I can't remember, because this is pretty much everything I prepped for. I don't think I prepped for anything other than this, really. I didn't really prep that much for the Electabuzz, but pretty much everything else here is what I prepped for. So we have a physically defensive Amoonguss. We still wall the hell out of a Serperior with Clear Smog. And we can take hits from the Mega Tyranitar and put him to sleep with Spore, which is really important. We have a Sweeper Barbarical. This set didn't really get shown in this game, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it was supposed to be our late game win con, essentially. Then we have a... What kind of Togekiss is this? This is a sub-nasty plot Aurasphere Air Slash Togekiss with a lot of HP and a lot of speed. I think we had 24 EVs in special attack. The idea being I could scare a lot of things out, sub up on them, click Nasty Plot, and then start just really causing a problem, because a lot of things would actually struggle to break my sub, like the Alomomola, for example, like the Gliscor, for example. So we wanted to sub up, and then, you know, Tyranitar gets 2-hit KO'd by a Nasty Plot boosted Aurasphere. So it can't switch in on me particularly well, or it can't take one from behind a sub and then one from when I come out from the sub. We really wear down the Heatran very fast after a Nasty Plot. So yeah, really, really cool set. With Togekiss, this thing could potentially just... You can see here that the coverage plus the bulk could just 6-0 his team in certain circumstances. Then we have a Spadef Slowbro. This set didn't get shown too much again, so I'm not really going to talk about it too much. Then we have Nico the Empoleon with Stealth Rocks and Defog, Scold, and Ice Beam. I believe with the coverage moves, it could have had Steel or Hidden Power Fighting. It could have Flash Cannon or Hidden Power Fighting for the Tyranitar, but I think it was just Scold for Tyranitar and Ice Beam for the Serp, potentially. With that Spadef, we probably will take a Leaf Storm, maybe even boosted, because we are very Spadef. No, we changed it. We are Fizdef. We are very Fizdef with a Shucker Berry, not leftovers, so that we can take any hits from the Tyranitar, get rocks upon it, and then Scold it. And then we have a Megalopony with a really fun set this week. This is Power Up Punch, Drain Punch, Ice Punch, maybe Substitute? I think this might be Sub as well. The idea being we can sub up on the Aloe, it can't Toxic us, then we can just keep Power Up Punching, Drain Punching that thing down into Oblivion. Ice Punch for the Gliscor, which is his other main resist. These two things, like, I was convinced would be his Lopunny checks, because none of these things want to deal with Megalopony. So, again, Megalopony, if we could get Sub Up and Power Up Punch, could just 6-0 his team. So with that in mind, we decide to lead off with the Megalopony. He leads with the Gliscor, and I'm like, okay, that's not ideal, but it gives me Togekiss essentially for free. He goes for the Stealth Rocks, and crucially here, we don't see a Toxic Orb activate, which says to me that he's probably Yachi Berry, so that he can take an Ice Punch from the Megalopony. Unless I'm wrong about how Toxic Orb works, I'm pretty sure it activates instantly. So I'm like, okay, I don't think you have to have lost HP for Toxic Orb to activate at all, because it's not like Leftovers. It just poisons you, and then Poison Heal is what makes it recover health. So I think the Toxic Orb would definitely trigger here. So I'm like, okay, this is probably Yachi. So I did make, and I thought it might be Yachi. That's why I didn't run the risk of staying in. I could have just gone for a sub with hindsight, to be fair, but, you know, hindsight's 2020. So we go into Gypsy here, and I'm like, this is a free sub, unless he's carrying Ice Fang, and if he's uninvested, I don't even know if that breaks a sub. But he just goes for the knockoff, not expecting a sub. And this really put him on the back foot, and he has to go into his Electabuzz, probably fearing the Air Slash. And we revealed to have Nasty Plot. And this does psych him out slightly. I know he definitely felt on the back foot here. But he goes for Light Screen, and I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't expect screens. I went for the Aura Sphere because we, you know, if he Thunderbolted and then Thunderbolted again, we couldn't take two. But there's a chance that Aura Sphere could 2-hit KO him, depending on his build and stuff. So I'm like, okay, that Aura Sphere did, like, a lot. Like, he's probably a Violite, but it's hard with the Light Screen there to really tell. So we just go for another Aura Sphere, and in comes this thing, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to sub up on this thing because I want to stall out the Light Screen. I want to see if he's Light Clay or a Violite. I want to know exactly what's going on with that damn Electabuzz. And I also just don't want the Light Screen on the field because Togekiss has an amazing matchup here. And yeah, I know I'm wearing it really low when I have plenty of other things that could come in and don't care about Light Screen, like Megalopony, for example. But it just seemed worth stalling out. And as you see, he missed his first Magma Storm. He landed his second. This is going to become relevant. So this is one-on-one at the minute. And then he lands his third Magma Storm. Fine, okay, we're just trying to stall him out. And we actually see that the Light Screen there doesn't go away, so he's Light Clay. We go for the Aura Sphere, and he misses his second Magma Storms, and now we're 2-2. And I'm like, okay, actually, now I have an opportunity to sub up again and stall out the Light Screen again, which I didn't think I was going to do, which is why I just went for damage with the Aura Sphere. But he lands his other one, so now we're 3-2, 3 lands, 2 misses. And I just go for an Aura Sphere here because Light Screen ends this turn anyway. I might as well get rid of it. And he misses his third Magma Storm, so now we're 3-3. And I'm like, god damn. Okay, he's now in Aura Sphere range. I did consider just going for a sub here, in case he switched out into this thing. But I didn't want it to get a free Light Screen off, potentially. I wasn't really sure what it would do, how fast it was. I saw it outsped me, actually, so that wasn't exactly it. But, so he landed 50% of his Magma Storms. Now, Magma Storm is a 75% accurate move. Once you've clicked it 6 times, if you're averaging 50% hit rate, you are desperately unlucky. And I do think that. And what it meant was that I could take his Heatran even lower. I could stall out his Light Screen even easier. I could get a free Aura Sphere on this Electabuzz. The reason that I switched out here is that he could go for the screens again, but I didn't think he would do that. I thought he would have to try and kill the Togekiss because he's already seen that Togekiss is just putting in the work against his team, and Light Screen really isn't going to help him. If I start subbing and Nasty Plotting again, Light Screen is really not going to help him with Heatran being so low. He doesn't have a lot of good checks that would stop me from just clicking sub Nasty Plot. So I do think he has to go for damage here and try and kill me. So I'm just going to go out into Stromful. And he just goes for Thunder Wave, which essentially does the same thing in terms of stopping me from stopping me from subbing and stuff on him. And wearing him down as low. So then he goes for the Volt Switch, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to click Spore, but unfortunately we don't get the Spore off. I think I clicked Giga Drain that turn in case he stayed in and was Vital Spirit, I think. But here we just go for a Spore, as he misclicks the Stealth Rocks again. This game already is a bit of a shambles, but crucially I don't think this mattered, because even if he got off an Earthquake or an Ice Fang or a knockoff, I don't think it mattered too much. I don't know what he would have wanted to click, but we would have taken all of them pretty easily with our max defense bold build. We would have eaten any physical hit from this thing, even like an stab aerial ace or something. So I don't think it mattered too much in terms of getting damage off on a regenerator mon that could have just pivoted out. The only thing maybe is Black Sludge affecting rolls later in the game if you'd gone for knockoff, maybe. Hard to really say. But it's still an unfortunate misclick because it means I just get a free spore on him. And now can't click Giga Drain, I believe. No, I go out. Oh yeah, I predict him to want to go into Tyranitar. That's it. Now that I can't spore him, I'm like, he's going to go T-Tar. And he's going to start doing big damage. And I'm paralyzed. And I can't synthesis up on him very well because of the Sandstorm. And Giga Drain isn't very reliable recovery against T-Tar because of its massive SPDEF. Means we don't really do a lot. We do like 25%. I can 1v1 his T-Tar potentially. But with the paralysis now, it's going to make it a hell of a lot harder because I'm not guaranteed to get a Giga Drain off every turn. I really just wanted to take it low with the Amoonguss. And instead... I'm potentially going to get beaten down by it. So I double into Lopunny, knowing that Gliscor is asleep. Lopunny gets in for free. If he goes into Tyranitar, I pressure it. So it's a really win-win situation for me. And I'm going to scare the Tyranitar out. And the Sand is going to help me wear down the Alomomola as well, which is pretty nice. And there's no reason that I shouldn't click Drain Punch here just in case he stays in. And I'm like, okay, now we're going to sub because I don't want this thing toxic in me. I don't think he can break my sub with a Scold, so we're just going to go straight up for a sub and try and wear this thing down. As he goes for a Wish, which I kind of expect him to do anyway, expecting me to Drain Punch again. So I'm like, cool, we're in a good position. Let me click Power Up Punch here, and I'm going to start really putting in some big damage on this Aloe. And he actually just pops off the Liquidation. And I'm like, oh, that does break my sub just, I think. I think it does like 25%-ish. I'm not really sure, but I think it just breaks my sub. So I'm like, okay, well, we're just going to start firing off Drain Punches. As he goes for Liquidation, you can see it does 29%. So I think it's like 25 to 29 or something. I think that's a fairly high roll, but I don't quote me. I may be wrong. And we just go for another Power Up Punch here, expecting him to want to go for a Wish. But he actually goes for another Liquidation. I'm like, oh, I could have killed there with 2 Drain Punches potentially. So that was kind of annoying. Here, I should have predicted him to go for a Protect and go for the sub because I was like, he's going to want to take himself out of range with the sub, with the Protect and the Leftovers recovery because you see he lives on 11% there, so the Leftovers did make the difference. But I don't go for the sub, and here he goes for the Toxic, and now I'm in a bad position where he is going to be able to start wearing me down a little bit. He can click Protect here, for example. I thought about going for the sub, but I'm just like, I just lose more health that way. I just get killed by Toxic quicker, so... I don't think I gain anything by going for sub there. I'm just going to keep spamming Drain Punch because he really doesn't have a switch into Drain Punch. So he goes out to this thing here and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to click Ice Punch first turn because I think he's going to double. So I'm going to click Drain Punch again. At the very worst, I'm going to get more HP back from this thing and put him in Ice Punch range even if he has the Yachi. I don't know if the first Ice Punch would have killed it anyway without taking him into range. But here we are just going to pop off the Ice Punch because I'm like, okay, this thing's just sitting in and being fat. So we just click Ice Punch, and he does go out into the Electabuzz, and I'm like, damn it! We could click Drain Punch and got a little bit more health back, and this takes us really low, and we will die to the next round of Toxic, as he goes into Aloe, and we now can't 1v1 the Aloe. If he clicks Protect, then we just lose. I may as well save Mega Lopunny, because at this point, Drain Punch still does a number to a Tyranitar. It still Revenge kills Superior with Ice Punch, potentially, if it gets a bit of chip on it. It still kills Heatran. Ice Punch still kills Gliscor. So I'm like, apart from the Aloe, Lopunny is still really, really useful. So there's no reason for me to not preserve Lopunny. Especially when I have an Amoonguss that can come in on on Aloes, because he's nicknamed it Mega Love Disc. That can come in on Aloe, especially because Aloe's gonna click Protect. And we can just fire off a Giga... Oh no, we're doubling again. Man, I'm too good. Double out into the Apollyon, expecting him to go into Tyranitar. He's already shown he's bringing Tyranitar in on the Amoonguss once something's asleep. So I'm like, okay, we're just going to go into Nico. We're going to get rocks up. He goes for the Crunch. He might not be carrying the Earthquake, which is fair enough. I knew that I could live any hit from this thing with the Shuka. I knew that I outsped it after that first turn. So I'm like, okay, we're going to get a Scold off on this thing. As he goes for another Crunch. We do get the burn. I don't know if this mattered too much because even if he killed me there, Mega Lopunny came in, clicked Drain Punch, and got a shitload of health back. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. If anything, in a way, it's worse for me. And here he clicks Whirlpool. And at the time, I thought he was doing this because he was just memeing. This was a really weird RNG game in terms of... And also, it's worth noting he got the defense drop, which kind of makes up for the burn to some extent. So there's that. But this game, we've already seen so much RNG. We've seen 50% success rate on the Magma Storm. We've seen him misclick Stealth Rocks, which isn't RNG, but it was like a bit of a mess. Then we've seen a burn on this, and then a defense drop. So we're just seeing RNG out the wazoo, as they say here. And it's just like, so he clicks Whirlpool, and I think at this point he's just kind of memeing, but I don't think he is actually, to some extent. And he said that basically what the idea of this set was, it was like a Whirlpool Toxic set to trap in a Moongus and trap in a Moongus and to 1v1 it with like Crunch and Whirlpool, and with Toxic and Whirlpool to 1v1 the Slowbro. No, I don't think it was Toxic. I think it was just Whirlpool. I think it was just Trap. I think he just wanted to trap Slowbro and Amoongus and 1v1 them, was his thinking. Which is really, really cool tech, I have to say. But, of course, it does mean that we get to kill this thing. And at this point, I'm like, okay, so the reason that I'm not sure he was just memeing with the Whirlpool is it gives him a free switch into Superior. Which is why I'm like, oh, actually, I'm in a kind of bad position. I have to go out into Amoongus and then Paralyze, which really sucks against this thing. He clicks Leaf Storm, it does nothing, but he gets the boost. And here I have to hope that I land a Clear Smog, otherwise we're in a bad position. But he actually just chooses to go into Heatran. I'm like, that's fine, because I got my rocks up exactly for this thing. It can't come in on rocks again now. Even though leftover recovery is going to take 12% from rocks, so it's going to basically die to rocks next time. Or he's going to stay in and let me kill it or whatever. So basically we just put him in another position, but he misses Magma Storm again, so he couldn't trap the Slowbro, unfortunately, which could come to matter to some extent. So he actually misses 4 out of his 7 Magma Storms, so less than a 50% success rate is pretty bad. And then he just goes for the Toxic and dies. So we have seen double trap on his team, Magma Storm and Whirlpool, really just trying to trap things in and wear them down. And then he goes into Surf, and the reason that I say that Magma Storm miss might matter, and it might be the ones against the Togekiss mattered because it let me get the Heatran really low, but they didn't change the game because it was so early. It's hard to know if the result might have changed. The reason that I don't know if that one mattered is because if Magma Storm carries on after Heatran dies, I don't know if it does. But if Magma Storm carries on after Heatran dies, I now would be locked in with my Slowbro against this thing, meaning it can just boost the hell up on me, which could have been really problematic depending on rolls, how many boosts he got, things like that. So instead we can just go into Amoongus, and you'll see why I say all this in a second. As he goes for the Leaf Storm, of course, no reason not to, and he gets a boost. I'm just going to fire up the Clear Smog and hope that I don't get paralyzed. He doesn't have great switch-ins to Amoongus anymore. As he clicks the Dragon Pulse. Now the reason that it might have mattered is if Slowbro had got locked in with the Magma Storm and he'd been able to get to like plus 6 potentially, if he'd been able to, I don't know, because we are a Spadef Slowbro, so I don't know how many Leaf Storms we would have taken. At plus 2 with a Dragon Pulse, he did 42%. So if he was at plus 4, theoretically he would have done like 84%. If we'd got paralyzed that turn, this thing would have just swept me. I'm talking about how much damage it would have done to Amoongus, by the way. And if he'd got to plus 6, I think he would have OHKO'd Amoongus with Dragon Pulse. So that Magma Storm miss, if Magma Storm carries on after the Pokemon faints, and if Slowbro could take 2 Leaf Storms, could have changed the game to some extent. Other than Amoongus still would have had to get paralyzed and not land his Clear Smog. But there was definitely an out for him there. So we are just going to fire off the Clear Smog, which stops him from getting too boosted and being able to do too much damage to me. And he goes for another Leaf Storm as I click Clear Smog again. And the yellow magic does take place, which is why I kind of said these things, you know, they can matter, they can come to pass. And here I have to just sack Empoleon. I know he's going to do crap ton if I let him get too boosted, and I can't allow that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sack Empoleon, because now he's in Ice Punch range. He's not... It's a roll depending on his HP with Drain Punch. And from his investments, it looks like he is really bulky and really offensive. So I'm like, I'm so confused at this point, because Clear Smog did not do nearly as much as it should have done looking at his offensive investment. So I'm like, does he have no speed? Like, he's definitely not Scarf because he's changed up moves. But what is this set? Like, how is he... I don't understand how he's taking these hits so well from Clear Smog, but also getting so much damn damage with Leaf Storm and Dragon Pulse. So because I didn't know his set, I couldn't risk clicking Drain Punch. I have to click Ice Punch and let Lopunny go down. But that way, I guarantee this thing dies. If he goes out into Alomomola, that's fine. Because then I can bring in my Barbaracle and try and win with Barbaracle. On the Alomomola, which I'm pretty sure it did 100% of the time. Just won the game, cleaned up from that point. So there was nothing to lose by me clicking Ice Punch there. And even with the round of Toxic, I still could have taken another round of Rock. So I still could have preserved Lopunny if I really wanted. So here we just go for the Drain Punch. We may as well get damage off. We know he's going to wish back up and get to full. I could have tried to preserve this thing, to be fair, and save maybe some differential, but I didn't feel the need. I thought I may as well just keep spamming Drain Punch, get him as low as I can. He clicks Liquidation and he's going to get back to full, so I don't really get him very low at all. But you know, I just didn't see the need in trying to preserve differential, because what we can do is we can go to Togekiss and we can always click Substitute, because I've run the calcs and I can see from the amount of damage that he was doing to my Lopunny from that Liquidation, there's no way he breaks my sub. So I'm like, okay, I'm in a really good position. This was the other thing that could clear up the game as well if I had let Serp switch out, was Togekiss. So we go out into Togekiss and we can just keep clicking sub when we have enough HP and really just take two rounds of Liquidation from this thing. But here we just go for the Air Slash, because I'm like, even if he Toxics me, it's not going to be enough to win end game. And here, Aura Sphere kills. So I expect him to click Protect, but I've already had enough mind games with Jack, if you guys saw that game, to know that I can't risk him clicking Protect. I have to still just attack. I don't think he's ever going to PP stall me here, so I have to just keep attacking. And the more he gets recovery, the more chance he has of me missing Air Slash, but Barbaracle still 100% wins from this point, so I'm not too bothered. So I'm just like, okay, like, Barbaracle will still win. We've just got to keep pressuring this thing. And I go for a sub here, expecting him to wish, hoping that Air Slash would miss, and he actually goes for the Liquidation. And I'm like, damn it. I forgot I had a defense drop. That was the reason why I thought that was a good play if he went for wish, gambling on the Air Slash miss. But I had the defense drop, so he broke my sub. So now I'm just like, okay, now if he gets another double protect, he's out of Air Slash range and I have to flinch him then. But he doesn't get the second double protect, thank God, and we do kill him. As I say, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because Barbaric was still cleaned up at the end. But 53 turn game, so really a quick game by Sean's standards, but a semi-long game for what was a fairly offensive builds from both of us. Just the fat fish staying around forever at the end. Really nice 4-0 win. I do want to apologise to Sean because, like I said, the early hacks... He knows my stance on hacks anyway. My opinion is, early game hacks, it's impossible to say who would have won after that because there's another 50 turns where things could change, so you really don't know. I think that he got desperately unlucky, mind you, and it allowed me to stall out his light screen and wear him down, which sucked, and it put me on the front foot, but I don't think it decided a win or a loss early game. What maybe decided the win or the loss certainly took any chance of him winning the game was the Magma Storm miss on Slowbro. Once that missed, I think I always won, essentially, bar Amoonguss getting double paralyzed on the Superior. That was the only way, and then I could still have sacked, potentially sacked Empoleon. But his Serp nearly reverse swept. It was very, very difficult. I had to play around it very, very carefully. Props to him because it was a really good build and a really good team. And this was not a 4-0 victory. That's what I really want to say to Sean, is that this was more like a 1-0. Like, this was very close, and the hacks really saved me a lot of differential. And as I say, that last Magma Storm miss maybe saved me the game. I didn't think when I went hard into Slowbro at the time, it just didn't occur to me, crap, if he clicks Magma Storm, locks me in, and then sets up with Serp, I lose this game. Because I was like, Amoonguss always beats Serp, not realizing that Dragon Pulse would do so damn much. Now, the reason that Serp was taking so little damage and doing so much damage was because it was AV Serp. He told me after the game, and I was like, I didn't even think of that. Like, that's why I couldn't get my head. I was like, how is he fast, bulky, and hard-hitting? What is going on? He was AV Serp, so really, really cool build. Props to him. Somehow, we go 5-0 against one of the best players in the community. I just don't know. I'm sorry, Sean. Like, I hacked you out, and I've hacked him out a few of those games. Like, in my opinion, I have two of those 5 wins. I have 2 clean wins against him. Owl and the ABC off season, the Little Cup off season. The other 3 games, this one, UCC, I got hacks in both. And then the LTC, he drafted mono flying, so I'm not even going to count that against him. So yeah, like, I'm 5-0 against him, but it feels like 2-0 with a lot of cheating somehow. So I apologize to him for that, but I'm going to stop rambling on because I am supposed to be keeping these videos short, and this one definitely is 20 minutes long again. But GG to my man Sean. What this means is we're in a really good position for playoffs now. I need to beat EV Master, and then essentially we've locked up playoffs, and the game against Blue Phoenix at the end of the season is just going to be more of a fun game, which will be awesome. So hopefully we can beat EV Master next week. I'm pretty sure we're playing next week, and we play Blue Phoenix last week, but if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I hope you guys are looking forward to those last 2 games, and maybe playoffs again, so who knows. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, guys, and I'll catch you again next time.